and today reports suggest that the hospitals there are taking emergency cases only. To get a sense of exactly what's happening on the ground and how difficult it is to work in a hospital during a major crisis like this, I spoke with Dr. Ahmad El-Mokhallalati, a senior plastic surgeon currently working in the Al-Shifa medical complex in Gaza. He has also previously worked at the NHS at Guy's and St Thomas's here in London. I began my interview by asking him what the situation is in his hospital now.
We have around 800 beds capacity. That's the whole hospital, and the whole of Gaza is 2,500 beds. What we received in the last 3 weeks is more than 10,000 casualties. And we will receive all kind of trauma, all kind of casualties. What's interesting in this aggression is that you see a lot of aggressive and deep burn with all the polytrauma patients. So if the patients won't die of the polytrauma, of head trauma, of internal bleeding, they will die of the burns. As a plastic surgeon, I deal at least currently with more than 70 patients with extensive burn. They are more than 50%. And what happened that all these patients, they need ICU admission, they need multiple surgeries, otherwise they go into sepsis and die. And with the limited resources we get, we can't deal with this number of patients. So what happened? They just attacked like one building with 300 people inside, and then you get like a gush of 300 casualties in the hospital, which used to get not more than 10 or 50 in the maximum capacity. And at that time, we work on the ground, we work without anesthesia, we work just, without x-rays for the ortho. So the whole situation is that we run out of all the supplies. What we used to consume in 1 month, we consume now in 1 day. So even for me, the dressing, I use most of the time non-sterile things. I use a little bit of anesthesia. I use a little bit of dressings just to keep the supplies running. We run out of the ICU beds. The hospital is 20 ICU beds. Now we have 70 ICU patients. We have to deal with them. The theaters, when we get the gush of patients, you get like at least 50 patients need surgery at one point.
And can I ask, does that mean that you are having to make really life or death decisions about who you can treat, who it's worth treating, who it's not worth treating?
Unfortunately, it's happening. So when I see patients with extensive burn and I know the mortality rate is high, I would take the decision. We sat together with the ICU people, with the administration, and we put the cutoff for the extensive burn, and we say the survival rate internationally will be like lower, will be something like 30%, but we don't have the capacity to deal with these patients. And many times you need ICU bed, but you run out of the ICU beds. The whole situation is catastrophic in a way. Even forget about the casualties we get. We have the unsafety of the staff. So in my department, we are 13 doctors. I got only 5 or 6 running the department currently, because most of the people have been told to be evacuated south, and then they felt unsafe south. I got one of my plastic surgeons who got killed by bombing his house, and 4 of them are there in the south. Right. And then the people evacuated to the hospital feeling this is a safe place. So you get the staff not fully functioning, you get the supplies not fully coming, and whatever comes in the hospital stays in the hospital. So the patients feel unsafe. They said, we have 20 people killed from my family. This is the only girl who remained out of the family, which was wiped out. So there is no place for this girl to go. And they end up in the hospital. So I operated on 100 patients now who are ready to go home. None of them is going home. Just we push the people. We say, okay, just stay in the hospital, stay on the ground. I need to get another patient on this bed. So this is the situation. It's really hard.
It sounds absolutely horrendous. And Hamas are saying that around 7,000 people in Gaza have been killed so far by the Israeli bombing. Israel is saying that's a gross exaggeration. As someone on the ground, what is your impression of the death rate?
This is 7,000. I think now it's 8,600 something the number has reached. So with the number of casualties you get, it's really horrible. And what we know, there are many people under the bomb houses or buildings, so they got in the civil defense more than, I think, 5,000 people, they said it's lost. So I will be honest with you, when you go in Shifa hospital, it's more full of civilian people. You can't see anyone with weapons, no one with guns, no one with military clothes. They are all civilians, and you get all the people evacuated in the hospital. So the hospital is full of thousands of people. And you can see half of them are kids.
Yeah.
which is horrible.
Absolutely horrible.
If you think about each story I've seen, one of our colleagues, a histopathologist, he got killed while trying to evacuate south, and they bombed his car. And I was doing surgery on his girl like 2 days ago, and she said, I'm the girl of Dr. Mohammed, and do you know him? I said, yeah, he's a friend of mine. And then when it goes to the humanitarian level of way of thinking, okay, it's really hard, and you can't hold your tears. You'll be crying, saying, okay, she's a girl, but we have to deal with these things. It's the whole stories of families being wiped out.
And can I ask about your own family? Are they safe?
I just moved from London to Gaza last February, and most of my family, they are in between UK and Ireland. My small family, they are kept alone. So they were in my in-laws' house, which have to evacuate to another house because they bombed the house just beside them. And then they bombed the third place. So in one night, they evacuated in 4 places. And then I took a decision. I brought them to my office. So they are sitting with me in my office, my 2 girls and my wife, because there is no one outside who can take care of them. Yes. I can't leave the hospital at all. But what happened in one night, they have to evacuate in 5 houses, and they didn't sleep for 1 hour at all.
Absolutely appalling. Now, you are waiting for the ground attack now to start from Israel. What is your fear? What are you frightened of when that starts? Because that will be presumably an entirely different scale of attack.
I think this aggression lets you feel that there is no one is safe here, no single place is safe. I will tell you something. We got the Al-Ahli Hospital, which is a church, a British church hospital, which was built by the Society of the Churches and by UK more than 150 years ago. It's known that this is the reference is in UK for them. It's a church hospital. It's a church as well. And the people feel this is the safest place in Gaza to stay in. And they bombed that one.
Yes.
And 500 people were killed. One of my plastic surgeons, is a British plastic surgeon who came just the first day before they closed the border to help us here, he was there doing surgeries, and he attended the attack. And he came here like terrified, in a very scary situation. He said, I've seen the people, 100 people killed there. So there is no place which is safe. They told the people you have to evacuate south, and then they bombed them on their way south. Today, one of our head nurses, she evacuated south with her family, and they bombed the building south of Gaza where they evacuated already. So simply, there is no single place which is safe. There is no single area, and you keep evacuating, feeling totally unsafe. Let me tell you simply about the usual stuff. There is no water here in the hospital. If you want drinking water, it ran out of the market. And if you get hard, you can get something. At the beginning of the attack, I got like boxes of water. I get it in my car. That's the only supply I got for me and my family. There is no food. There is no cooked food here. All the restaurants are closed. No one is providing you with anything. And even the bakeries, they bombed 6 bakeries. I think even 10 bakeries in the whole of Gaza. They bombed the bakeries. They bombed the big supermarkets where the people will just get some food or some stuff to get. So it's day by day where you have to arrange your own food, your own supplies. You have to take care of your family. And I have one of my colleagues here said, listen, I just collapsed. I can't work. I have my family, which I feel they are unsafe. They bombed all the houses around us. Just excuse me, I can't do anything. He's staying here, just can't do anything, feeling, just he's disabled.
Well, so Dr. Al-Mokhallalati, this seems a fatuous thing for me to say, but stay safe. And thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure talking to you.
And there's a man up against it. That was Dr. Ahmad El-Mokhallalati from the Al-Shifa Medical Complex in Gaza.